Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one, the only beloved Hbar. We will be talking about, can Hedera still hit $1 this cycle, or is the dream dead? We will be talking about the short-term price action and, of course, the longer-term price action. We will also be talking about Hedera fairly often on this channel alongside XLM, Hbar, Quant, Zbec, and much more. So if you do like those types of cryptos and you do want more Hbar content, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. This is mainly going to be a technical analysis video today, but in the future ones, we will be discussing news. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, right? So look, Hedera, let's go back just a little bit, okay? Let's go back in time. We can see, people had doubts about Hbar. We can see we're going sideways for some time. And by the way, is this the best chart? Is this the crypto one? No, that's what I thought. Okay, that is literally what I thought. Okay, perfect. Actually, this is literally perfect. This is so much better. Okay, perfect. So we can see Hbar for some time has been going sideways, pretty much from mid-June up until late November 2024. Right, boom, mainly going sideways. Yes, of course, there are times where we had higher points, but generally we were kind of going sideways. We did explode all the way upwards of 40 cents. We went to 40 cents. We tapped into an institutional candle right over here, and then we sold off. Is there one on the monthly? I guess there's one technically on the monthly on the lower end, but yeah, we could see we tapped into it. We have sold off, and then boom, right? We kind of created a triple bottom down here at, let's just say 12.5 cents, which by the way was a huge liquidity trap, right? Huge liquidity trap. Pretty much having a triple bottom is always a huge liquidity trap to destroy investors. We can see we had a little bit of a pump mid-July. We kind of peaked around 30 cents before we were consistently going down lower and lower. And we can even see on the weekly, right? When we take away all of the distractions, do something like this, boom. Okay, we have a high, we have a low, we have a lower high, we have a lower low, we have a lower high, we have a lower low, and pretty much just basic fundamentals, right? We have been staircasing consistently lower, and I do not expect momentum to generally be shifting up yet. Nothing has really indicated that we will be going up higher and higher. In recent times, we have kind of come back to this nice key zone over here, right, on the smaller time frame. We can overall see that Hbar was kind of in the zone, right? When you do something like this, was between, let's just say, the 21 cents and the 27. And then we can see even on the daily candles, we have been creating consistent lower and lower and lower key swing points. And eventually we broke out of the zone. Now, all right, if we go back a little bit, let's just make the chart less messy. We can see we're below this huge zone. We kind of have retested and tapped off this. We created this nice consolidation zone here at 19 to 20 cents. We tap back into it and now expect sell-offs. Why? Because there is a lot of sell-side liquidity here. Plus, I would not be surprised if there is some type of order block roughly at the 10 to 12 cent mark. You might be thinking 10 to 12 cents. No, you're crazy. But let me give you a reason of why I think we actually will be coming back down to these areas. And my main thing is Bitcoin. I do not trust Bitcoin right now. We can see Bitcoin's actually below a huge support, turning it into resistance, right? This level over here was once a floor, but now it is a roof. We can see we actually tapped off it, we sold off, and we might try to tap it once again. But generally, over the next few short weeks, I overall expect for us to take out this 98K area, as there is a nice monthly liquidity zone here. Plus, there also is a 92K CME gap, right? If I should probably just go on the daily, just so it's easier. We can see, boom, there's a gap right here. There is a gap. So Bitcoin has to fill that up, right? It didn't have to happen technically this cycle. It could have happened in bear season, but we are closer to it than further. So the likeliness is that, yes, we will continue to pretty much be going lower and lower with Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin does truly go to, this zone, this is another 10% drop. And since we're already down here, there's always that chance of dropping an extra 1 to 2%. So we can see Bitcoin potentially dropping, upwards of 14%. Now, 14% is a lot. Okay, 14%, it's not a small amount. So if we were to look at something like Hbar, usually altcoins drop 3 to 4 times more. So that would be anywhere from, let's just say, the 35 to 50%. So if we drop 35%, like I said, it would be coming back down already into the 30% is the 12 cent. At 10 cents is 40%. And the fact that we could drop upwards of 50% would mean we actually are sweeping out this October low down here, right? So obviously not the most ideal, but that is my analysis right now. Okay, that is my analysis right now. Even let's say when we go to something like the monthly, we can see in terms of the monthly, for the key swing points, we have a high here, a lower high here, and we can see that the last few months have been fairly bearish. When we go to the 3 month, right? The 3 month is pretty much the same thing, but a little bit lower. We have a high here, a lower high here. And when we go to something like the 6 month, the 6 month is actually a pretty big rejection candle. And then when we go to something like the yearly, we can see overall this year, we have been generally bearish. Yes, we did take out the 2024 liquidity, but when we go look at the bigger picture, it is bearish. Now, here's the thing. I expect 2026 to be a very, very great year for altcoins. So the fact that this year, 2025, is bearish isn't actually a bad thing because it does line up with 2026 being very, very bullish. Look, it's very, very simple. You usually have one year go down and another year go up. It's very, very simple. So look, even if we were to close the year here or even lower, that would technically create a higher low on the yearly, right? Because we would have a low. Even if we were downwards of 9 to 8 cents, we would close there. That would create a higher low. And in terms of highs, we have this high and we have a higher high. So, things are looking good. Overall, that would make the market makers try to push Hedera upwards at least to 40 cents, right? Bare minimum, like garbage, bare minimum pump would be everyone making their money back. And that's what I truly do believe. Now, the only annoying and concerning thing is the fact that we do have a good amount of imbalance between the let's say 10 cents and the 6 cents, right? So that is the only annoying thing, right? And if we actually go on a better chart right here, usually all of the imbalance kind of gets filled, right? When we did have imbalance over here, it got filled up to the T. Any imbalance over here got filled up too. And then, when we had a little bit of imbalance over here, right, it went a little bit lower, but it also got filled up before we had the big pump. So that is the very, very annoying thing when we look at all of this. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be a nice 2026 pump. It just might mean maybe the January or Q1 might be a manipulation, and then the rest is going to be going through the upside. Look, when we even look at the 3 month on this chart, we have high, lower high, lower high, lower high, but we also do have low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And even if like I said, we were to close down here, it would also be a higher low, which makes me ultimately believe, since crypto is overall very, very bullish with what's happening around the world, I overall expect for us to really, really start reclaiming these zones in 2026, right? Even on the 6 month here, it's kind of the same picture. We are consistently creating a floor that is going up higher and higher, and a roof that's going lower and lower in terms of closes. So we ultimately, sooner than later, have to actually make a very, very important choice. And like I said, since there's more money in crypto adoption than ever, I overall expect the crypto markets to be going up. We can actually see we have these 2021 highs. This is actually the bare minimum I would expect it to go. So upwards of 60 cents. So even, if you buy Hedera, let's say at 8, 10 cents, let's say you buy at 10 cents and it goes to 60 cents, you're looking at a 6x potential. In terms of market cap, we're at 7.37 billion. So I actually do think we could be hitting anywhere between a 10 to 20x from here, which obviously would put Hedera over $1. But if you are looking at it from a pure dollar standpoint, right, we're roughly looking at a little bit more than a 5x. 5 times 7 is 35. It's going to be a little bit higher, upwards of 40 billion market cap. If you don't think Hedera can hit 40 billion market cap, then I think you're really underestimating this project. But that is ultimately it, though, ladies and gentlemen. I actually do think Hedera can hit $2 kind of fairly, I want to say easily, but in a realistic manner. That is it. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.